Right, welcome to today's video. I'm going to be going over some banana control grenades, right? It's probably the most contended spot in a pug, at least. As well as in team play, if I'm perfectly honest. So your normal thing would involve having, Molotov here, nades was there, and then smoke at the bottom with the flashbang, right? In my mind, I feel like you should never do banana control unless you have 3 players, really. Because it's a bit of a risk to try and do it with just the 2. Because chances are the T-side players will have 2 as well. If you have a 3rd, it means somebody else can do an extra, set of grenades, right? And when you consider you need to molly, nade, smoke the bottom, flash, that's a lot of grenades to throw just for 2 people. And what if they put the smoke out and then you've got grenades in your hand, you get caught out, you die, you lose the round. So this is from the POV, so this is the 3rd player, right? So the 3rd player is the one who doesn't play banana. So he's going to jump to the right. He's going to then line up this smoke, okay? So you're going to need to have your jump throw ready. So this lineup is pretty straightforward. You just go straight from this line here, you fall all the way down to where the ledge is, and then you click, and then jump throw, right? So I've pressed B by mistake there as well, but that's just because my jump throw is on N. So I do N and space, but at the same time. So this smoke's nice and easy. It lands right at the bottom. It's actually deep enough as well that it's like right here for the T-side players, so it's not even a case where they can think they might be able to sneak out just to the right here. It's pretty damn good actual smoke there. So as well as that, this player will actually throw a flashbang for you. So this is again a pretty easy lineup. So you can see there's these little gaps that are shown in these little boxes, or these barrels, right? So you're going to line up on this one here. So you see it's like a triangle really, this gap. You're going to aim at the top of it. Okay? Put your cursor right there and then jump through. So this lands on the roof. You can hear the pop and you can see the kind of darkened area just there. And that pop's basically in view of these players that'll be around here. So the main thing with that is actually based off the Molotov. So I'm going to explain those now. So the first player, this is based on spawns. So that 3rd player is not based on a spawn, that's whoever doesn't play banana normally. If you're in a team where you feel like you can trust any player to play everywhere, of course you should definitely run this as a spawn based thing, with the 3rd player being the player that goes in the corner there and does the smoke. So first spawn, you'll run toward banana, you'll then throw a Molotov close, right? So some people have their wacky lineups where they do it off the ceiling, they throw it based off of, off that wall. They sometimes do it off that wall. Sometimes people just throw it there, like you just aim there and just throw. I feel like it's case preference because I feel like Molotovs are very random in this game anyway. You should just make sure you have one that you're comfortable with doing every time. I personally have always done that because I feel like it guarantees it will get quite a wide berth, right? So again, first player will Molotov close. And then when the other player's ready, you'll double nade the logs, because that is going to be the gap for you. And as soon as you've naded, you want to get your gun out and get ready for that player's flashbang. Second player will run as well. They run to the corner, and this actually is a lineup. So you basically, I'm pretty sure there's such a good amount of range on this Molotov, you can actually seek out to find a better one yourself, but for me this has always been the success one. So you basically line up and make a nice 90-degree square with your crosshair. If you have a different crosshair, of course, it could be quite different, but it's a pretty easy one to, base off of eye as well. You just kind of go a tiny bit up from the wall and then click and throw. So this Molotov usually will spread and actually get into the corners. As you see, I'm going to die. But it gets the cubby and also the far end. But then you can see, if I throw that one again, just so you can see the line of it again. So you just run it to the wall and okay. You'll see a very clear line being made. So there's a line here, and there's a line here. Okay. So with those lines in mind, and with that one smoke there, you're going to have a gap here. This is going to be your unknown zone, right? So this is where players can be stood. A T-side player could do this, most likely. Depending on how deep you do that first Molotov, they might be able to peek this. So keep that in mind. But the main thing is you're kind of baiting them into, you're forcing them into either here or here, right? If they go to logs, they get hit by double nades. They're going to die. Or take 90 plus damage, and you'll probably end up pushing down and getting the kill anyway. If they go to this bit, that's where that flashbang will come over, and then you and the other player throwing grenades at banana will swing and kill them, because that's a free kill. They should be fully blinded, and they should be basically in no man's land. Like, there's nowhere for them to hide here. Like, they run backwards, they go into fire. They run forwards, they go into fire. If they put a smoke towards the half wall, it's a different story, right? So let's now think about how what like the probability tree, right? So the what if scenarios. So let's say you've done those 2 Molotovs and this Molotov got extinguished. Okay, so it probably got extinguished by the player. They got here and they went tss, and it just blooms right, right here. So if you hear that happen and the close one hasn't been put out, but you've still swung with the flash, and you have like, if you hear that extinguish, you probably shouldn't double nade logs, because that should mean that they're probably in the cubby. Like there's no reason for the player at tree to do this, because they should be fine. So I'm going to show you now a lineup for the HEs so you can get the cubby spot instead of actually the tree, because it's a really difficult spot to clear. I know that a lot of players have issues with it. Even though the CT has a right hand peak, it's an AK that's an M4, so it's not always going to work out. So let me show you this then. So everybody knows to nade the tree, you just aim to the right of this line here. However, if you want to get the cubby, there's actually another lineup you can do. So you see these fading flower pots, courtesy of csgo. So you go straight down from that, and there's actually a pillar, right? See this little stick out there? So you're going to want to aim to get your grenade to hit that. So you can stay in line with the flower beds and basically just run and throw aiming at it. And that will then land in front of here. Of course, so long as you don't get, cursed by CSGO and it lands like against the curb and does no damage, you could be quite unlucky with that, and I think that's just CSGO things, rather than like a case of it being a very specific scenario. But you could just put a lot more power on it so it explodes mid-air, rather than actually having a chance to bobble and then, ruin your day completely. So that's one of the potential scenarios. The other one, of course, is that they are putting the smokes out close, which you should hear quite soon. Like, as soon as you do that, you should probably just set anti-flash anyway. And then if the player's lining up with his flashbang, you can probably get away with doing your nade then. And then waiting for the flashbang and then swinging. Because in a perfect world, you're probably able to swing when the Molotov is gone. Because then you should be able to take all of this map control with that smoke still there. So let's now think about a potential scenario where you've managed to get banana control, you've cleared out the cubby, you've cleared out tree, and now you're leaving a player at the top of banana, so they should have, a flash and a smoke. So you're probably either on the wall like this, or maybe you're jump spotting like that, just to make sure you get some info. Okay, so you've just been flashed off as well. So, bam, you pull him back, you're just like, okay. You walk around here just so in case you hear anything. With your smoke ready, just in case. If you hear them close, you need to smoke this, just like right off the wall. You can probably aim halfway to the ground there, if I remember correctly, like just from roughly here. Yeah, and that's basically a perfect smoke anyway. Like no matter what, if you aim halfway to the ground, boom. Same thing can be said for this one as well. If you go, see how the door is split into 2 here, like this the top half, bottom half. Aim in the middle on that bit. Without peeking, you just aim at the center again. Same thing, right? However, let's potentially think about where you've pulled back and your team is still 5 players alive, and it's getting to about 40 seconds. Your second player needs to be back on your bomb site. Like, there's really no real reason for you to have 4 players on the one bomb site. That's a possibility. So let's say that you've fallen back to NoobHubHQ, right? So this is a smoke that I actually showed a few days ago as well. But I just want to show it again in a potential scenario where you're able to use it in a real situation. Okay, so this is again pretty straightforward. You line up with this tile on the floor, straight from the bottom of it here. You've probably got a good range of like movement here. To be honest, it doesn't have to be exactly on that. And then you just aim at the bottom. So you see this line. You aim at the bottom there where the white connects to it, and then it jumps through. So this will whack off both sides of the wall and then land nicely in the middle. Okay, so this is lovely, right? This is fantastic. You basically get a smoke right at the top, and it's far enough ahead where even if they boost behind it, it's kind of rough, because I think you get about here. It's still not great. Like, you might see somebody rotate from coffin. So speaking of coffin, the same thing can be said here as well. So this is another opportunity for you to smoke the top without peeking, right? Because this is definitely, like, this one isn't peeking, but some people do this, and it's like, you're exposing yourself to there. So let's show this one as well. So for this one, you get right in the corner here. Not this corner, but right in this one here. So you can see if you move to the left more, you'll be able to wedge yourself in. Okay, so this one, this is a bit more of a difficult lineup for you. So, you see this corner of the roof? There is actually a wire going across. So for me, it's my crosshair lineup, because I can just do that and basically have the roof stick out a tiny bit. Like ever so tiny. And then just get it to stick out a bit more. There we go. And then you can click and throw. Nothing other special about that one. This will land right there, and as you can see, you can probably see feet through the bottom here. But what the issue is with this smoke, though, is this spot is now a real good opportunity for them to boost. Like, this is a way better spot. So if you throw that smoke, even though you've managed to smoke it from here without peeking, you can probably not try and get to site, because that, unless you flash it like that, and then do that cross, like, even if your lane's fine, you still need to be able to get to the site cleanly. That's just an opportunity for you to just smoke without having to peek. Obviously, I just showed it earlier, I just want to show it again. Yeah, same thing, half wall, boom. That one's a bit further up again, so similar to the one I just showed you, whereas this one's obviously a bit more safe, so you can actually have it a bit closer to you. So this has just been some of the grenades I actually know that could work in like one round as well. So as well as that, thinking for a flashbang if you're stuck at noob box, like in that scenario I just posed, there's quite a few different ones you could do. Like there's a lot of opportunities for you to like look around, like what is there. So a lot of people go for just like doing that into pool and then swinging like that, because that will get anybody running in. If they haven't cleaned you towards noob box, that flash should get them in their FOV here. But if they know you're at noob box, it's a bit of a tough one, right? Like, you know, you're probably going to get Molotov depending on how long in the round it's been. But I've actually always enjoyed doing something like this. Or, you know, it's not meant to actually stay up there, but like, yeah, something like that, and you swing out with it. Okay, so that pops like, I want to say like this high, which is really nice. And then you swing with it, because if they're looking at the flashbang, they get blinded. You should be able to swing out and maybe get yourself to second, which it's not a great position either, but given the circumstances, you're usually only good for maybe one from noob box, typically. Anyway, so that's going to be it from this one, and thank you for watching.